What's up guys, Chasing Lemmy here with episode number 32 of our Williams Racing Revival here on F1 Manager 22, and today we are at the 20th round of the 2023 season at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez in Mexico City, Mexico, and we should hopefully have an exciting race in store for you. If you did miss the last race, you missed an absolute cracker, and I strongly recommend you go back and watch it. No spoilers, but it went well. Anyway, let's crack on with what we're doing for this race. We did all the prep, I believe, in the last episode, so we should just be able to go ahead and get ourselves moving towards the Mexican Grand Prix. We'll have some manufacturing completed. We're going to get as much R&D done before the end of the season as we can. We won't get there very quickly. We are going pretty much straight into the race, though, because everything is done. Everything's looking good. We have parts for the cars and all that good stuff. We've built some front wings for Oscar Piastri to smash up, which always brings joy. Right, let's look at the mailbox. Front wing manufactured, board confidence is high. Race prep I'll do in a second because I need to look what's going on. I just said heavy rain for the race in Mexico. That's always one to chuck a spanner in the works. Monthly car development report, we are okay for now. And everyone seems happy. Okay, let's have a look at the car comparison for Mexico before we do the performance targets. We need to know what's going on with the car in terms of where we are on the grid. So, crucial for the circuit is low-speed cornering, which is not going to help us a lot. But recommended for the circuit is high-speed cornering, which we do quite well. So, points may be on the card. Quite a lot of straights on this one as well. Have a little look at the circuit map, shall we? The circuit info, just to see what it's saying about sections by speed. Lots of straight sections, which is top speed, going to help us out a lot. Slow sections, they're there, but they're not massively worth getting concerned about. I think we can probably do all right in this race. I think I'm going to say double points for the race. That's going to be my plan. Right, reach Q2 is going to be a target I'm going to set for qualifying with both drivers. That's a thing I'm going to guarantee. I'm going to say actually both drivers inside the top 10 because I don't see why we can't achieve that, and the money is good for doing that, so we're going to try and do it. Right, finish position, it just wants us to finish 14th, nice and easy. I am going to do another guarantee of the fastest lap because it is something we can shoot for just to get some extra points. And without any further ado, I'm going to go do qualifying and practice and all that kind of good stuff. I'll rejoin you after Q3. So, quali is in the books then, and it's been a bit of a mixed bag. Also, everyone on the grid seems to have penalties, so that's going to help us out. Leclerc taking pole, but of course grid penalties are going to drop him back, putting Verstappen on pole. Sainz takes third, again drops back, so Bottas will join him on the front row. The second row will be Perez and Russell. Then it's Hamilton. Third row starts with Alonso and is joined by Gasly, who qualified 11th, followed by Ricciardo and Stroll take 9th and 10th respectively. Then, behind Gasly, Ocon, Magnussen, Tsunoda, Mick Schumacher, Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri had the most unlucky qualifying in history in that he did his first banker lap, nice casual one, start of the session, and just every other car came out just as he started his flyer, so he just hit all the traffic. And then when I sent him out on the second lap, just before the end of Q1, he found himself stuck behind both of the Aston Martins, who of course move at the speed of continental drift. So, Zhou Guanyu behind him, and then Vettel and Albon, and yeah, Piastri just very unlucky. Normally, qualifying 17th, I'd take the grid penalties and stick on some more parts, but with so many grid penalties ahead of us, I'm just going to roll the dice and see where he ends up.
Welcome to race day, and before we get down to it, last minute checks are being made.
Qualifying went well for Williams, as attested by their strong position on the grid. Now it's all about finding that edge for the race itself. We saw a reasonable push from Mercedes in qualifying, and they'll have plenty of opportunities here to achieve a great result. And the sun is shining bright here today. This is perfect weather for teams and drivers alike to show us what they're capable of.
Well, there's some serious decision making ahead for teams and the drivers as we begin the Mexican Grand Prix.
So the race will start off dry, but we have had some predictions of some heavy rain for this weekend, as we're about to see here on the screen. So there could be an opportunity to play a bit of a strategy blinder here, and it might be actually an ideal time to take those penalties for Piastri, assuming we can take advantage of the quick dip to the rain, which is not impossible. We could make up some spots there and then just plough our way through, although Piastri may not be the best wet weather driver, I think, in the world at this point, so I don't know. 50-50. If we were streaming right now, I'd ask you guys for your opinion, but unfortunately we are recording, so we're not. Let's have a think here then, because that rain's going to come in somewhere around lap 13, and I think a lot of teams are going to boldly gamble here. I think a lot of teams are going to try and take mediums to start. They're going to get, because of just the way the AI works on this game, they're going to take mediums to start. I think I'm going to go for that, and then I'm going to go to a set of wets, which should go the distance. It's going to lighten up a bit at the end, but I think rain-wise, I'm probably looking at quite wet. Let's be honest, that looks like quite wet for most of the race. Of course, right tyres at the right time, the old Martin Brundle philosophy, so we'll see what goes there. Let's update strategy C, we'll go with that. And do we take it? First of all, I'll check the front wing check, make sure we've got spares. We do have spares, that's always good. We're not going to take it because we've got pretty good parts already, so we're not going to lose out too much. We're also going to stick in, I think the fuel burn goes up by about a third of a lap to the top one, so if we go 3 extra laps of fuel, 2 extra laps of fuel, let's go 3, we'll make it back regardless, so that'll be fine. Pace mode, we're going to start full throttle and we're going to go full overtakes on the overtakes. He's starting in 10, so that's going to be absolutely fine. Bottas, we're going to do exactly the same strategy because that just makes sense to me to do that for both drivers. Of course, like I said, we will play the rain by ear. We'll say lap 13, why not? And pace target, we're going to go for, I guess we'll go for aggressive rather than anything else. Onto the wets. Jobs are good, and hopefully to the end, of course, if it does lighten up for a few laps, we can always change onto Inters, see how that goes. That'll work out fine. Again, on the fuel, we're going to go for a couple of extra laps and full burn, pace mode aggressive, and we're just going to go deploy from the line because let's try and get the better traction. That feels like the best way to go for this. Have a look at the car parts look good on both sides of the garage. For now, we should be okay. I think that's going to be a winning-ish strategy. Very good. Do I not have any fresher softs than that? I don't have any fresher softs than that. Okay, let's call it that and we'll see what happens. Let's go see what Karun and Crofty have got to say before the race.
It's bright and sunny as the drivers line up on the grid. And there's Valtteri Bottas. After an impressive qualifying performance, they're starting today just behind pole. And looking at the second Williams car. With a top 10 position on the grid, this race could really go either way for them. The race start is mere seconds away. This is it. Here we go with the Mexican Grand Prix. And it's lights out, and away we go.
And we're underway. Apologies for the very poorly timed cough there. I don't have a cough button. I feel like I need one. It's hay fever season. It's starting to beat me up a little bit. Let's go on board with Oscar Piastri for the start of the race. Bottas should stay in second for the opening corner. Is he going to go for it? No, because Verstappen brakes incredibly late there. Piastri is stuck behind the weirdest collection of cars, Norris and Magnussen and Gasly. But of course we are going to get some DRS times. There is going to be a point where I have to just hope we confirm the fastest lap with one of our drivers and hope for the best. Everyone else is starting on mediums. Bottas has just taken the lead. We'll jump on board with that because I think Bottas now, we can start chucking in some fastest laps and we should be all good. We'll hopefully get a replay of that very, very shortly. He's going to start leaving Verstappen behind. Let's see what happened with that. Good little move on the outside there. Took the inside for the second half of the chicane. Knew there was another inside corner coming and just went for it. And Valtteri Bottas is away free and clear and hopefully just going to lead to the flag now, because that feels like what Valtteri Bottas needs to do in that position. The team are reasonably happy. I mean, she looks slightly miserable despite the good move there by Valtteri. So we're just going to hope that Bottas can just put in, like I say, ping in a bunch of fastest laps is kind of the plan here. We need for Piastri to get past Norris quite quickly here, because if he doesn't, then he's kind of burned his own race a little bit. But we'll rely on Bottas just to really burn through his ERS and through his everything, really. We're just going to let him burn through everything. Let's go double speed this up, because there should be an overtake coming here. You'd have to think Piastri's going to make the move on Norris coming down this long straight. Surely, no, he's not going to go for it. Very interesting decision making by Oscar Piastri. He's going to go for it here. He is going to go on the outside of Lando Norris. Job done onto the back of Kevin Magnussen, hopefully at this point. And Magnussen is also on the soft tyres. So that is going to play heavily into our strategy. We've either got to clear him or he needs to start pushing past Gasly. I think we're going to clear him in just a second. It looks like Oscar's got the bit between his teeth. Going around the outside here, inside for these corners. Job is well done. And we will come out of this in just a second as the two highest running cars on soft tyres get the traction out behind Gasly. See if we can get another spot coming up through the start-finish straight. That will be ideal for us, and then we can get onto the back of Hamilton. Is Piastri going to go for it here? He's not. I think he's picked his hunting ground. Bottas has run out of overtakes, so we'll drop him down to neutral, let him slowly rebuild that before we get into the wet phase of the race. Bottas should have firmed his fastest lap. If not, we'll keep an eye on when the weather's coming in, and we'll just go for a fastest lap at random just before the rain starts coming. That feels like it will be a very good plan for us to kind of follow through on. So, Piastri now onto the back of Gasly, still looking for maybe a move coming out the S's. Is he going to go for that with DRS open? We're going to go for it on Piastri, sorry, on Gasly, and we'll be right onto the back of Hamilton as soon as we get that move done. And job looks good for us, and we are back onto the DRS zone. We're going to go back to neutral and hope we can just make something happen now with the DRS. Bottas now 4.2 seconds clear of Verstappen. He might even be almost a pit stop clear before before the rain starts coming, which is going to be a bold one. Apparently there's zero chance of rain right now, so that rain's coming in very quickly from somewhere. DRS open again for Piastri. He is probably not going to get past Hamilton in the DRS, because Hamilton also has DRS from Alonso, who has DRS from Perez, who also has DRS from Russell, who we see at the front of the train there. Once we clear Perez, Russell should be a sitting duck for us, and we can start chasing down Verstappen to try and make it a 1-2. That will be the plan. Ultimately, let's go double speed here, because we do need to get through this race quite quickly. I'm recording this at very close to midnight on a school night, and that is going to be important to make sure I get enough sleep before I go to work, so I don't, lose my job and my house. That'll be a winner. Right, let's get DRS open again, Oscar, and let's see what we can do from here. We are just kind of sitting in there, late braking, but doesn't quite make it work. You're not going to late brake Hamilton quite so casually as that. We just need to hope we can stay in touch for now. See what happens. Piastri should start recharging his battery quite quickly, because he's very, very good at managing his ERS. That's going to help us out a lot, and hopefully we won't get a safety car before the rain comes out, because that would scupper our carefully planned plans for the race. A safety car would absolutely kill us right now, it has to be said. Back under DRS again, going to try and catch up to the back of Hamilton. Hamilton's a little bit further away from Alonso, so we should be able to close in quite quickly. Haven't quite made it work. Russell very much fighting with Perez, and they're both in our way in probably the worst way, to be honest. There's been a yellow flag in sector 1 and 2. That's going to bring out a safety car, I think. It hasn't. Verstappen's had a spin. Let's see how that went down, because he was in acres of space. How have you lost it there? How has Max Verstappen lost it there? And how has every other car almost driven into the back of him? That's unbelievable. Unbelievable stuff. It's given Bottas an 11.5-second lead, which is slightly ridiculous. I don't know if anyone's going to have to come in for damage because someone was dumb enough to drive into him. It looks like Russell may have taken a bit of a knock. But it looks like we're okay for now. That's fine. We'll keep going. Everything is normal and everyone is happy. And Hamilton has lost the DRS train, so we should hopefully... He was definitely out of the DRS train there. We should be able to make a move fairly soon because he's struggling to keep up with the cars ahead, which is unusual for Lewis Hamilton, especially considering that Russell is doing so well to hang on to third place ahead of Sergio Perez, who's in a better car. The two Ferraris in 16th and 17th haven't quite pushed their way through the field yet. They're going to be struggling a little bit. Guan Yu Zhou is going to be causing a huge issue in 13th because that car is not fast enough to be helping anyone in 13th or below. And we're going for a look around the outside of Lewis now, and that's we tried, Oscar. I'm very grateful for your efforts, but that didn't quite work out. Having another look, Piastri's feeling racy today. You can see it. You can see how racy he's feeling. We're not quite at the rainy period yet, so we may have to drop down a little bit on the old tyres. Let's see how that's looking. I think we're probably going to have to do it because we're nearly 8 laps in. He's burned half his tyres off. Let's drop down to an aggressive for now and see if we can maintain a little bit of tyre for Oscar Piastri towards the end of the dry period. We've entered the pit window. I'm not worried about that. The pit window will be very much dictated by the weather today. That I can promise you with a very high degree of certainty. That will be what determines it. We had another look around the outside of Hamilton. Not quite made it, but he is outside of DRS now. So maybe Piastri will make a move coming through this one. He should be able to get very, very close, if not past him. Hamilton somehow got DRS again, despite being well outside of a second when we got through that DRS activation zone. Don't really know how that happened, but there's another one coming up, and we've got to take him eventually because he cannot maintain this defensive posturing in front of us for too long. Here we go, ready for the third DRS zone, which I believe comes up coming out of this corner. Wet weather getting ready to come in about 4 minutes. So we're nearly there. We're nearly there for it. DRS activation found. Hamilton was within range that time, but somehow hasn't got it now. And we're going to try and catch him going to the stadium section. Can we pull this off? We're not going to pull it off. Not quite enough run on him for now, but that's okay. I'm not overly stressing about that, because we're going to get him down this straight. I've just got a feeling we're going to get him down the start-finish straight. As long as we get DRS and he doesn't, we'll be fine. Let's see how that goes. DRS activated for us, not activated for Hamilton. We've just got to go for it here. He's parking himself right in the middle of the track, but we should have the run on Lewis Hamilton. And Piastri, he's been outbraked by Lewis a little bit there. And this fight's going to keep going. We'll go off board because this fight could very much keep going for a while. Piastri just behind the activation point. There you go. He's opened his rear wing, taken advantage of it, should force his way past Lewis, and that should be the last we see of Lewis for quite some time. We can get onto the back of Alonso now and see if we can make some inroads here. There's not much left on Piastri's tyre. We are very much hoping for the rain to happen at this point. And I don't know if it's going to. Another driver is locked up. I'm not sure who. Don't see anyone dropping down the order. So I guess we'll find out in just a second who that's going to be. Must have been Guan Yu Zhou, I think. Looking at how far it dropped. Sebastian Vettel. Let's have a look at the lockup. See what happened there. So Vettel's locked up and it's just in the grass. That's it's not really where you want to park, Seb. That's not the one, my friend. Right, Piastri needs to do some catching up on the drivers ahead. I don't know how much I trust that rain to be coming in. I guess I've got to trust the rain to be coming in. Let's just go full send now. Tell the boys to go for it, pump in those fastest laps. That's what we're looking for. Lewis is going to get a run on us under DRS now, which might be a blessing, it might be a curse, because it might help pull us up towards Fernando a little bit, which don't want to get stuck behind him. We're being lost in the DRS train a little bit as well, which is not terribly helpful, because they'll start pulling away from us. There's a lot of DRS zones on this track, and it's very, very hard to catch up to a DRS train once it's broken away. Bottas is starting to get caught up by Verstappen. I guess that's the crossover in the tyres playing their part as well. That will be a big part of what's made that happen. But it's okay. I think we're in a good position. We've made up 4 places from the start, which is pretty strong, I think. We should be okay, as I said. Rain period is going to come. It's coming in very fast and it's going to hit very quickly. And I think it's going to be a case of whoever gets on the wets at exactly the right time is going to be the big winner in this situation. But we're about a lap away from that now, so we're going to wait and see. Let's double the speed up. It will tell us when it starts raining, because that's what the game does. And there's been a crash involving multiple cars. That could bring out a safety car, and it does. And because the safety car coming, I'm going to take the big gamble now. I'm going to go both drivers to the wets. I wish I'd seen that coming before we passed the pit entry with Piastri, because he'd be absolutely laughing. We're going to take advantage of this one in every way, shape or form as our headless mechanic pops up. We're going to take big advantage of this one. Let's let the grid firm up. The rain has started falling and it's going to come hard, which means that's going to help us. Let's have a look at the crash that's caused this problem. As a Haas behind a wall, there's an Aston Martin involved, of course, and that's an Aston Martin binned into the wall right behind the stand. I mean, that's what happens when you've got Yuki Tsunoda massively out of position, I'm afraid. Let's have a look, see what's going to happen with tyre decision with Yuki Tsunoda, because I feel like Yuki Tsunoda is going to make the decision to come out on wet tyres. If he doesn't, he's a fool, because this track is getting wet very, very quickly, and we should get in and out and behind the safety car before Verstappen gets through. Let's see what's happening once we finally get rid of the radio messages. And Guan Yu Zhou's come out on Yuki Tsunoda's come out on hard tyres with rain falling. That is not very smart. Someone else has had an incident as well, locking up. Red flag. Wow. Max Verstappen was the one who had that lock-up, by the way. I don't know if he's out of the race, but he had that lock-up. Race suspended on a red flag, and that'll do it. Jesus. That's a big old punt. That's... Sometimes the animations in this game, they amuse me heavily. Red Bull on Red Bull combat. Red flag underway. 3 minutes after the restart, it's going to be raining, so I think we are going to come out on the wet tyres just as we planned. We're going to come out on the wets. Have I just deselected that? I may have just done a mistake. We'll find out if I've made a mistake there. I think I didn't. I think we'll be okay. If we come out on dries right now, I'm going to cry. Because I'll have ruined Valtteri Bottas' race by not fully paying attention. And Piastri has somehow come out on softs. Buddy, no. I don't know how he's done that. I really don't know how he's done that. Alright, well, I've just ruined Oscar Piastri's race after such a good start. Endless apologies for that. It had to happen. You knew it had to happen as well. Okay, let's see what we can do. We'll make it work. It'll be fine. Piastri shouldn't drop all the way to the back of the field before he has to come in. I mean, he will have to obviously come in and then drop to the back of the field. But he'll catch up. It'll be fine. There'll be some pit stops for some people at some stage. Probably another safety car. Bottas should be able to rebuild that lead. Alonso right behind him in an interesting shake of things. Both Red Bulls are out, I've just noticed. Okay, well this just got a bit more interesting, didn't it? A little bit more interesting, plus the rain is always a great equaliser, so this really could go either way. Should we keep Piastri pushing on those wets? I feel like we should, because I feel like he's going to be the one in best position to take advantage of some Inters action, and that won't hurt too much. I think that's going to be my plan. We'll see how it goes. Bottas making big gaps. We're just going to go to the zoom, because there's no point us wasting time. Both Haas cars have come in to get rid of those inters because they've realised that rain is falling finally. And we just need to get past K-Mag now, which is going to be a bit of a challenge under these conditions. But that said, I've got some overtake. Let's deploy the overtake, see how that works out. Obviously, there is no DRS for the rest of the race, so that's going to be an issue. But we shouldn't need it. We should be able to get past a Haas fairly swiftly, you'd think, on equal tyres. You'd like to think we could get past a Haas fairly swiftly, but there you go. Piastri's having a moment now where he's forgotten how to overtake because it got a bit wet. So we'll see what happens. Let's get right onto the back of him, really push up. Can we take this overtake going into turn one? You'd like to think we could. Come on, Oscar. Get it done, buddy. Get it done. Get pushed down on the overtake button and see what we can do. There we go. We're away. We should be clear. And we're gone. So we'll drop down to a neutral. And hopefully Piastri will just be free and clear to do some catching up. There's nothing happening in the grand scheme of things with Valtteri, by the way. We're just going to keep pushing forward because Piastri should ditch Magnussen fairly quickly, get onto the back of Vettel, and hopefully carry on his merry way would be my hope here. Things are looking good in the grand scheme of things. Gasly's had a lock-up. That will help us out somehow. The two Ferraris have been the big winners out of that red flag period, up to 5th and 7th from way down the field at one stage. So that's worked out nicely for them, but it's going to be all about Oscar Piastri trying to catch up to Seb Vettel now and take advantage of maybe a dip in the wet period. Let's see what that's going to look like on track. We're nearly there, to be fair, and I don't know if it's going to make a difference. So maybe I've balked that a little bit. Let's drop those down, cool the tyres off. Some people looked like they were coming in for pit stops, and they didn't. It was just my brain playing tricks on me. It'll be absolutely fine. We're just going to keep going because Bottas is very clear now of his rivals. Very clear. 8.5 seconds. I can bring him in for another set of wets if I really want to the end. And I might want to, just for funs. We'll see how that goes. There will be an inters period, it looks like, towards the end of the race. So that's also worth us bearing in mind. This track should dry out very quickly in Mexico City. That's probably going to be Piastri's best opportunity to make up some places. Get him on the inters as early as we possibly can. See what happens with full rain again now. And it looks like Piastri is almost caught up to Seb. So there will be some overtaking action for us to watch on board in just a moment, you would hope. See if we get behind him right now. There's a Sector 2 something happening. It's not a safety car. Must just be a spin for someone. Leclerc having a lock-up. Drops in behind Carlos Sainz. That's nice. That will help us out very, very nicely indeed. Bottas with an 11.5 second lead over Alonso is a little bit insane, has to be said. But now Piastri is on the back of Seb Vettel and should close this gap very quickly, you'd like to think. Even in the sopping wet Mexico City conditions, you'd like to think he'd be able to make an overtake happen here. As Bottas is getting ready to lap Tsunoda, which is something we also have to be very aware of. If Bottas laps Piastri, that'll be super embarrassing. I know it's my fault. Somehow things just didn't go well in that pit stop. You probably all saw it as well and started screaming at the screen. But we're gonna make it back into the points. I promise. We're gonna get Piastri back into the points. It'll be absolutely fine. I have full faith in our abilities. Like I have full faith in Oscar Piastri's ability to catch Sebastian Vettel and pass him pretty soon, and then we'll start clawing back the gap to Ocon, and we can hopefully get into salvage mode pretty quickly here. We're going to go for another big push up to the back of Vettel. He's got no help for anyone to slipstream on as well, which is very, very useful for us. So we just need to pick our moment, get pushed past him, just follow in his tracks until we get the overspeed, and push right past him is kind of my plan here, which hopefully is something Piastri can pull off, because unfortunately Piastri is driving and I'm not, so I don't get to make that decision. That's just how that works, unfortunately. Vettel is not really catching Ocon either, which is not helping us. Let's try and get this move done here. We are right on the back of him. We should have the ability to get it done. We should have a little bit of overspeed. Let's drop some overtake just so we can make full advantage of it. And we're going to go up the inside, drop the overtake button. Come on, get that push down. Sector 1, something's happened. And I'm not sure what's happened. There's a yellow flag somewhere. Albon's had a spin. That must have been very close to us. Very close to us. He's had the same exact accident as Verstappen did earlier. And got driven into by an Alpine, who apparently also could not see that you have to go round the front of the car, not into the side of it. It was Ocon as well making that terrible decision. Good stuff, great stuff all around. Very proud, I'm sure, in the French garage. Very, very proud indeed. Right, what are we doing in terms of everything at this point? Let's do a bit of a sit rep. We're still okay on the tyres. I'm just thinking, do I have a bit more of a push? Because it feels like it might be advantageous to do it. I mean, Bottas can stay on wets to the end of the race with almost zero consequences at this point. I feel like with the gap he's built, he is just dropping Alonso at a rate of knots. Piastri is kind of in no man's land, so we'll see if he starts closing the gap to Ocon. He is very quickly closing the gap to Albon, of course, but it's Ocon we're worried about really closing the gap to, because he's our next big leapfrog to try and get onto the back of Lando Norris. Looks like no one's coming in for spare tyres. In fact, we should do a tyre check, see how everyone's doing. I think everyone's had the same idea of just going to stay on the wets for as long as possible and see what happens. So we're just going to keep an eye on the timing for Oscar Piastri. I mean, Bottas is gone. Bottas is, barring a catastrophic error, Bottas has won this race. I think we'd have to say at this point, and pulled the fastest lap, which will make up for the money we lost by Piastri not getting into Q2, which is absolutely fine. We'll survive that. It's not a problem. But let's go on board now, because Piastri and Ocon are at war. Sorry, Piastri and Albon are at war, I should say. And that's looking, I don't know why I did that. That's looking pretty good. We'll have a look at the off-board, the overtake on the replay in just a second. It was just a nice simple up the outside, around the outside, looking for the inside on the next corner. Obviously, we've got a very big straight line speed advantage on the on the Aston Martin anyway. Job done, and before we even got to the apex, which is what we like to see, because there's no need to be an apex predator right now. Right, let's keep going with Piastri, because Piastri, I think, is on an absolute tear. I'm not showing you let's show you some Bottas lapping a car. Why not? He's about to lap Yuki Tsunoda, and absolutely embarrassing. You've got to think Tsunoda will move out the way fairly quickly. It's pretty much as soon as Bottas appears in his mirror, although the game doesn't do a great job of demonstrating spray. So, realistically, Tsunoda can't see him yet. He should see him in a second, you'd hope, because he'll be getting blue flags on his dashboard telling him to get out of the way. I mean, he's barely moving. We're both barely moving in this rain. There's just no speed to be had. Job done. Tsunoda gets out of the way. And that was the end of the show for that one. So, Piastri just needs to catch up now with Ocon. There's not really a slower car in front of Ocon to cause any problems either. So we are just using what we've got in terms of car speed. I've got some good straight line speed. We should make up a lot of pace, a lot of ground on him in the straights at the very least. The rain is still coming down, but the track is drying up a little bit, so we're okay. Piastri is just about to get caught up onto the back of Ocon, which is very nice. That is going to help us a great deal. Bottas 22.5 seconds clear of Alonso, and he's just lapped Sebastian Vettel and trying to get onto the back of Magnussen and Albon, which means he's very close to lapping his teammate, which is probably not the situation we want to find ourselves in. In fact, to avoid embarrassing Piastri, I might just bring Bottas in for a fresh set of tyres at some stage, just to take advantage of the massive gap behind him at this point. Feels like that's going to be the way forward, but let's just see what Piastri can do in terms of catching and passing Ocon. He should do it fairly quickly, you'd like to imagine. He should have the pace in the car. He just needs to keep it on the island, which is something that we know Piastri not famously great at in this save so far. He's quite good at having an awful crash for no good reason whatsoever. So we'll see how that goes. We push out of the final corner and try and use our straight line speed to catch right up to the back of a sitting Duck Ocon with no assistance whatsoever in sight, available, or coming under any circumstances for him, really. And we're back within a second, and we should get this move done fairly quickly. I don't think Ocon will have much answer for Piastri once we get in a good overtaking spot. I don't think there's much he can do about it. Just Piastri will go, leave him behind like he's done all the others, start chasing down Lando. That'll be our next mission. And then it all comes down to tyre strategy a little bit as to how quickly we get ourselves up into the top 10. Points, of course, paying for the top 8 this season, which has been tremendously unhelpful. There's been a few times we've had a 9th or a 10th. I feel like that we could have got some benefit from us. Piastri goes now for the overtake on Ocon. Should make this stick up the inside, surely. Got it done there, holding on up the inside here, and that should be the game over. We are past Ocon, he falls in behind because he knows he can't match us on pace, and then we carry on with our lives. Job very well done for Esteban Ocon and Oscar Piastri's little battle, as Bottas now up to 25 seconds his lead, and we're just about to come into an Inters period. In fact, we're just coming to the Inters period, and I think that crossover moment is going to be a key one for Oscar Piastri above all else, because he will come out behind his teammate, but he will come out faster than his teammate. That's going to be the key, and it's just going to be a case of, does Norris get there first? It's going to be very close. We'll see how that goes on this lap. We're going to keep an eye on that rain counter coming down. And I feel like we're going to do it's going to be a double stack, oddly. That's not really a double stack, if that makes any sense whatsoever. So we're going to tell both drivers to come in. We're going to tell both drivers to take a set of inters. And actually we're going to tell both drivers to go full attack on their tyres, because there's just nothing left on them anyway. Well, I say there's lots left on them is what I'm trying to say. There's nothing to lose by doing this. We'll just catch up to Norris much quicker, which is what we're trying to do. Build a bigger gap to Alonso, again, what we're trying to achieve. And the crossover point is coming now, which means that Vettel and Tsunoda should be the first people in. Stroll and Ricciardo have decided to be the first people in. I was looking at the wrong combination of cars on the track. They've both come in for Inters, and they're going to be very quick. And Pierre Gasly is going to be asking some questions, I feel like, about why his team didn't bring him in. We're going to get in and out before Alonso gets anywhere near the pit lane and be gone, I think, is what we're looking at right here as we come in for Piastri coming in this lap, ready to make his name and make some places up, build something on the cars ahead. I'm just looking at the cars who are ahead who aren't on Inters already. Gasly might be catchable with the right tyres on. It will certainly make inroads towards him. Ricciardo should have him fairly quickly, you'd like to think. I know he's 30 seconds behind, but being on the wrong tyres at this stage in a race can be kind of deadly, with Gasly is halfway around the track. Bottas is in as well, gets his Inters on. Someone's come in ahead of us. That will have been Magnussen, I think. And we're good. We're free, clear and away. And like I said, we've got the pace over Lando. We'll be alright. We'll be alright till the end now. We're just keeping an eye on fuel consumption at this point, which is us laughing, I think. Ricciardo will be back in the fight with Gasly. We're going to get back in the fight with someone. Piastri has had something happen to him to drop 30 seconds behind Norris somehow. Is that a miscount? It is a miscount. It was just something not filing through the system. It was like, there's no way you dropped 30 seconds behind. That won't have happened under any circumstances. But we're good. We're looking really strong. That's the blessing here. We're looking really, really strong as we get towards the end. I don't know if we'll catch and pass Norris. It seems very unlikely with less than 20 laps to go. But we'll keep trying. We'll keep pushing. Bottas now well up into 30 seconds worth of lead. if we do get a dry track towards the end, I might actually bring him in and just kind of firm a fastest lap on a set of softs, because I don't see a good reason not to. I'll do the same with Piastri too, because he'll have a pit stop in there somewhere as well. And it just feels like the right thing to do at that stage. Tyres getting warm, don't worry about it, buddy. That's absolutely fine. You're on the back of Lando, so you are doing just fine. You will be okay. We'll be okay. Tyres are too hot. Behave yourself, my friend. Let's go balanced on Bottas's fuel consumption. He doesn't need to use the extra fuel at this point anyway. 35-second lead is unassailable unless he crashes. And Piastri will keep on pushing, trying to get himself past Lando Norris. He's within a second, obviously no DRS right now, but we should get this move done. Let's speed things up in our time, just to see if we can get the move done very quickly. Get onto the back of Mick Schumacher, past Mick Schumacher, and then we'll be laughing, I think, to get, back in some places. And the points, Daniel Ricciardo looking vulnerable. If we had a battle tracker, the AWS thing that tells you whether we're going to catch Ricciardo or not, I'd like to think on pace we probably will be able to do it. I'm not saying it will happen, I'm just saying I'd like to think it could happen. As Piastri now gets a good run on Lando, he should be able to make a move here. He's going around the outside, which is very brave. Piastri, obviously feeling emboldened, makes the switch, goes for the apex, and what a battle. Good stuff there. Puts the hammer down, leaves Lando behind. Lando falls in line because he knows what's up. And we can see ahead of us Mick Schumacher waiting to become the sitting duck, the sacrificial lamb, the next victim of our charge to the front of the field / points. Points is what we're charging to. If I'd not messed up the red flag, we'd be 1-2 by now and laughing. But let's not tell Oscar that until he gets to the garage. Someone made a mistake and it wasn't me, and I fired them. That's what we're telling him. That's the story we're telling, guys. Stick with it, and we'll all be fine, and nobody gets fired as Piastri gets onto the back of Mick Schumacher. Once he passes Mick Schumacher, I think we're probably home free to get onto the back of Stroll, and then Ricciardo, and then good times will roll. We're going to get to a dry period at the end of the race as well. I've just spotted that dry period coming, which means it's even more important we get past Mick now. Come on, buddy. Get past Mick now and carry on your merry way, because the first car in on dries is going to win the day, I think, especially at this stage. Low fuel as well. I think there are fastest laps coming. There are fastest laps coming, and we're going to get Bottas in to secure one as soon as the track gets dry enough. That is going to be the plan. Let's get pushing out this corner, Oscar. This is your last gasp of being able to use the full fuel. Get yourself past Mick. Come on, you can make this move happen. You've not made this happen. What are you doing, buddy? Come on, you know what you're doing. Just do your thing. Do your thing, Oscar. You've done so many overtakes in this race. You should have it mastered by now. We'll go overtake mode. Let's see if we can deploy the overtake and push past him using it. Let's go. Come on, buddy. Piastri out and neutral and good to go. And we will get a good shot at Lance Stroll now, which is what we're looking to do, obviously, because that's how that works. Let's go out to balance on the fuel, and let's go into quick zoom mode again. And the track is going to dry. There's no more rain coming. The track is just drying up. We're just waiting for that crossover. I'm keeping an eye on the weather on the right because we know the rain has stopped. And as soon as that track gets dry enough, we're going to send the boys out to sort out some fastest laps for us. Alonso is 40.7 seconds behind. You'd think Alonso would take a gamble at this point. Just go, John, screw it, I'm going on the softs to the end, see what happens. But he's not going to do it, and Piastri is not really catching Stroll or dropping Mick, which is interesting for many reasons. Bottas will need to conserve fuel just a touch. just to make sure he makes it to the line. Then we'll go back to a nice medium type setting. That'll work out fine. Let's go double speed on board with Oscar. Anything fun happening in the world of Bottas? Not really. Not even a back marker truly in sight. I think the next back marker he should come to is going to be Magnussen. We can find out. I don't know why I'm asking. I can find out. It's Norris. Norris is the next back marker that Bottas will come to. There we go. There's the secret. All out in the open. Right. So, we're going to get to a dry period with a couple of laps left to go, I think. I'm having contemplations about whether or not we risk Piastri coming in or not. He's not currently in the points. Let's do it. Screw it. But let's bring in both drivers and absolutely muller some fastest laps. That is inspired. That is inspired management of this team. Let's go muller some fastest laps, my boys. Because there's no good reason not to. The track is going to be dry in just a second. And Piastri on dry tyres against a bunch of guys on Inters could sneak some points. It's not impossible to make some big waves by doing that. See if anyone comes in for fresh softs through this pit cycle. There's a few drivers here who can definitely afford to take the gamble. DRS enabled as well is going to change the game. Let's just bring the boys faster and faster towards them. No one's come in. I don't know why you wouldn't come in. I mean, I do know why you wouldn't come in. But we should get out ahead of Ocon, I think. And Bottas will come in for soft, well ahead of Alonso when he comes out. Mick and Lando have both come in as well because they've seen the writing on the wall. Lance Stroll is going to be a sitting duck. I feel it now. Strolly, my boy, sitting duck. We've double stacked. We've got away with it. A 2.6 there. And Valtteri Bottas is going to say 2.6 as well. 2.5 dirty. All right, the chase is on for Oscar Piastri. 30 seconds behind Lance Stroll, but better tyres. I feel it. I feel it. I feel a chase down coming. And if we pass Stroll, we pass Ricciardo, we take the extra point. Let's just hop on board. Everyone's coming in for softs. Everyone's realised exactly what my game plan is. Take a fastest lap as fast as possible. If Stroll comes in, I'm going to do him. That's going to be the plan. Stroll has come in, and we are bombs away for the end. Let's see what we can do to make some inroads. Stroll is going to come out now. We're going to go back down to 1 speed, see if we make it across the line before Stroll comes out. We haven't, but that gap's going to be much, much smaller than it was. Let's see how that looks as a gap. 7.9. It's doable. It's doable. We're going to, on warmer tyres, we're going to be fine. We've lost nothing from doing that because he could have stayed out. He might have stayed out. We didn't lose anything by coming in. We had to take the gamble, and Piastri is not going to make up a second a lap on the softs, you wouldn't think, but Bottas should maintain that 40-odd second gap over Carlos Sainz, who's now battling with George Russell. In fact, should we enjoy the off-board there with Sainz and Russell? I think we should. Fastest lap for Piastri. Good times. This battle has Sainz, Russell and Alonso Sainz, Russell and a back marker. It's fine. Valtteri Bottas drops a 1:19 just for good measure. We're standing firm. We are standing very firm. And we've lapped up to Mick Schumacher now, which is even better. So we're doing well, right? Piastri is closing that gap to Lance Stroll, but there are only 2 laps to go. It would take something monumental for us to get in the points at this point. Like Stroll and Ricciardo having some kind of accident. I don't want to, suggest that should be a thing, but it'd be nice if it was. Right, let's go on board with Oscar Piastri. We're about to cross over for the last lap anyway, so we'll enjoy a last lap on board with Valtteri Bottas. That should be a good plan, whilst we're still catching Lance Stroll at a rate of knots, hand over fist, some might say. hand over fist we are making up time on Lance Stroll. But there is only one lap to go. And I feel like Stroll is probably a little bit safe. He's probably safe. He's just lapped his teammate, which is a little bit embarrassing there. But Piastri should stay ahead of Bottas, which is fine. And Sainz, I think, got to second a little bit too late because he is making up ground on Bottas quite handily. We're going to do a full deploy on both our drivers because we've built up quite a thing, quite a reserve, and I want that fastest lap back. If I can take it back, that would be my goal. To take the fastest lap back from Carlos Sainz on this last lap would be ideal. Sainz has not set another fastest lap of the race. That's absolutely fine by me. It's just about Bottas and those purple sectors now. That's what we're fighting for. The big purple sectors. Can we get the big purple sectors? We're going to give Piastri a bit more fuel to play with. Why the devil not? There's a purple sector for Bottas now. Sector 2 has gone purple. Can we get a purple Sector 3 and absolutely secure ourselves with the fastest lap? That would do us nicely. Bottas is going to cross the line now for the win. Jobs are good, and we are doing well. That's 2 wins in a row now, 3 wins in a row now. He sets a fastest lap on a 1:18. That's a disgusting jump from where Sainz was. Comes round the corner for the checkered flag, and Valtteri Bottas' return to Williams is gaining some traction. We're looking very, very good as a team right now, and we should actually get to see a full-on podium because Piastri's not on it, which is going to help at least with the fun of the animations. Right, let's manage the fuel for Piastri home. He's only 3 seconds behind Lance Stroll as well. He 2 or 3 more laps he'd have done him. For certain would have done him. Let's deploy, get that ERS used. We can see Lance Stroll. That's what's really upsetting. We can see him. We almost had him so close to getting things done, getting the job done for the team. But it's okay. It'll be fine. We'll work it out in the next race at Sao Paulo. It'll be all okay. Stroll and Vettel are having a little mini battle, I think, up ahead. It'll be fine. It's okay. We are doing some catching, making things happen, and Piastri, the last guy not to be lapped, so survived his teammate's onslaught, crosses the line, battery drained, fuel tank drained. He's about to stop dead in the middle of the track, I have a feeling, because that's how marginal I ran him on fuel. But that's the ball game.
What a phenomenal job Valtteri Bottas did today. Imagine how chuffed they must be. A podium is a real feat, and it's been accomplished in style. And this man certainly isn't finished with F1, proving he still has plenty to fight for in this sport. It was a hard-fought contest for all 3 drivers, each one securing precious points for their team. Williams have got to be happy with their results here. This was good work.
I couldn't agree more. It just shows what this team can do when all the pistons are firing.
And after this result, the team is 4th in the Constructor Standings.
Coming up in the next round is the Sao Paulo Grand Prix as we head to Brazil. Join us next time at Interlagos.
So we remain 4th in the championship, but we knew that was going to be a thing coming into the race. We've actually done okay there. I mean, if I hadn't screwed up Piastri's strategy, it would have been a very clear 1-2. I can only apologise for that, but such is life, I'm afraid. Driver of the day has got to be Carlos Sainz, up 16 places. Absolutely disgraceful. Right, in the Drivers' Championship, Charles Leclerc with 4 points there takes the lead in the Drivers' Championship by 1 point from Max Verstappen. Carlos Sainz sits in third, but very much still in the race, picks up 8 points and puts himself 9 points behind his teammate in his attempt to defend his world title. Lewis Hamilton sits on 4th with 75, Perez 5th with 64, Russell 6th with 59. Valtteri Bottas is just 5 points behind Russell now, having picked up 10 points to go to 54, and Piastri switches places with his teammate on 51. Alonso in 9th with 39, Gasly in 10th with 19, and then Théo Pourchaire still sits 11th, despite the fact there are many other drivers below him who, have teams and are not picking up points. Right, constructors-wise, we've picked up a point on Mercedes, we've picked up 10 points on Red Bull. Ferrari, I think, doing the maths, have secured the Constructors' Championship. So it really is just down to Max and the 2 Ferrari drivers for the Drivers' Championship at this point. And we are still just about, I'm just doing the math, within striking distance of 3rd place with Mercedes. We do need some big points finishes, though, to be able to pull that one off. So that's absolutely fine. Right, let's see what we've got in terms of experience gains for our drivers. Anyone going to get any points? David Schumacher drove Valtteri Bottas's car in practice. That will have helped him out a lot. I think across the course of the weekend we've made $2 million. That's fine. That will help us out because we've paid out some bonuses. And we are going to see if we've got any points to spend, anything we need to do ahead of the race in Sao Paulo, which I think is like a week or 2 away. I know they come thick and fast in the season here. 11 days until we go to Sao Paulo. Oscar Piastri gets a chance to use some of his points. I feel like we're going to stick to upgrading his smoothness because that's really an area where he needs to improve. Morale for Valtteri Bottas is very high. Unused development point for David Schumacher. I think we'll put it on his overtaking. Why the devil not? That's his lowest stat. That's how we'll use it. Right, anything here for us? Nothing there for us. We've got 7 million in the bank, so I'll look just to make sure I've got no facilities I need to do any work on. I need to do something with the wind tunnel. I feel like, though, upgrading the wind tunnel is probably a better use of money than refurbishing it. So we'll wait till we have some money to do that. Anything else we need to worry about upgrading? Not quite yet, so we're fine. I think the wind tunnel will be the next project on that score. Right, inbox-wise, congratulations, we won the race, yada yada yada. Good stuff from the post-race debrief. Adaptability could be improved, Oscar Piastri. It absolutely could. You are correct. Anyway, guys, I think that's as good a place as any to wrap up this episode, and I'll finally go to bed. So, thanks for watching, guys. Next time out, we are going to the Autodromo José Carlos Pache in Sao Paulo, Brazil. In terms of how our car stacks up for that, we'll give you a little taste. Oh, just realised Valtteri Bottas holds the lap record. We'll be taking that this time round, you'd like to think. Car analysis for Sao Paulo. Key things are acceleration and low speed cornering. We certainly have the acceleration. We have the medium speed cornering. If we can just find a little bit of luck, I think we can probably get a good result. I haven't actually looked at the circuit info. We'll look at the sections by speed again. I mean, it's all straights. It's all straights. We're going to be magic. We're going to be magic in this race. I'm going to outright tell you it's all classed as straight sections. We're just going to power our way through and get some points. Expected strategies for that one. It's 2 stops. 2 stops. If there's no rain, we are okay. I don't think it's going to give me a rain prediction, is it? Oh, it is. A rainy Sunday in Brazil. Where have we seen that before? Rhetorical question. But if you know the answer, let me know in the comments. Why not? When was the last time we had a big, potentially title-deciding race in the rain in Brazil? Because that's what we're about to get. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I have, as always, been Chasing Lamely, and I will see you all very soon. Don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, leave those comments, share with your friends. It all helps out the channel, and lets me keep doing what we're doing. And until next time, guys, thank you for watching. See you all very soon. Have a good one.